Hi all, today we will talk about NAT rules in Cloud NAT. So basically it is a feature provided by Cloud NAT through which we can create access rules and that define how our Cloud NAT will use to connect to the internet. So as we know that Cloud NAT rules support source NAT based on the destination address. So let me go here and I will show you an example for that. So suppose you have a subnet here and maybe some VMs are running in this subnet and you have created a Cloud NAT gateway for this specific subnet and you want that if destination is some like suppose this range 192 198.50 120/30, then cloud net will use this IP. And you have another rule: if destination is 100.30 and 100.31, so cloud net will use this net IP. And there's a default rule: if there is any other destination, so then cloud net will use this rule. So like this you can divide a configuration and you can make for each destination a different IP address of CloudNet. And same for here, we have a subnet too, and for that we also created different NAT gateway. In this only one rule is there, default rule, and it is going to any internet connections like destinations where we want to send the traffic. So this is kind of this we can create multiple IP and attach IP to different destinations. And when we configure a NAT gateway without NAT rules, so there is only one rule, that is default rule. And if a NAT rule basically a match condition and a corresponding action. So if a condition is match, suppose this IP is match, your VM sends traffic to this IP, the condition is match, and after that corresponding action will be it will send use this specific NAT IP. Like this we can create multiple NAT rules as your requirement. And once you create NAT rules, you have to make sure there are some specifications. So first one, number one is a rule number is unique. You can like no two rules can have the same number, and each NAT configuration has a default rule. As we know, it will create a default rule every time when you use NAT rules. So cloud NAT rules are only supported by when the value of NAT IP allocate option is manual only. As we know, there are two type of options, automatic and manual. So if you choose manual, then only you can use cloud NAT rules. And all IP address configured in a given rule must be of the same tier. So suppose I have this rule one. So in this I have to the same tier like premium tier. I have to use all the IP address in this specific NAT of premium tier only. And I can add multiple NAT IP address. It is all only depends upon me how I want to configure. And destination IP CIDR ranges in the match condition must not overlap. So you cannot overlap like your CIDR ranges, destination CIDR ranges across the NAT rules. And there can all like can be most one rule that can match any given packet at a given time. You can't create multiple rules for the same IP address for destination side. And NAT IP address across NAT rules must not overlap. So as we know, NAT IP can be attached to a single rule. You cannot attach this same IP to this rule also. That is not also not possible. And NAT rules cannot be enabled if we have enabled endpoint independent mapping. So make sure if you try to enable this, this will not work. So let's do some demo and you will get a better clarity. Here I am in my console. So basically there are two VMs. This is one my previous videos VM, it is still running, and this is my external VM on which one Apache 2 web server page is running. So let's go to our cloud net, and first of all we will create a new net for our services. As of now it is not working, just manual net. I cannot reach internet until I create that net. You can see I'm not able to ping. So let's give it net rules, and it is a public net. Private I will cover in the next video. After that we have to select the network in which you want to create this default network, and the region I have to select it is in my Mumbai region. As you can see the VM is in Asia South one, so I have selected that only. And cloud router I have already created in the last part. I am using the same. After that you have the option of subnets. So let me go with primary and secondary ranges for all subnets, but you can choose according to you. If you don't know how it works, check out my previous video. In this video we are focusing on net rules only. So if you go with automatic, there is no option to create net rules. There is nothing like this. But if you change the allocation to like manual, there will be option to create net rules. So as we can see here, we can see net rules has been enabled, like cloud net rules. From here we can create net rules, and we can create up to 50 customized rules, and each rule should have a unique rule number assigned. So now I have to create a IP address first of all. So let me create my IP address. So I'm using in premium tier as of now. So let it call IP address 1, and let me reserve it. It has created the IP address. We can see that now this is a default rule, so all the traffic will go via this specific IP address, but I want some customized rule, so I just can click add a rule. And so I will copy my VM external IP. I will go here and I will just click on copy this IP address. This is the VM external IP, and I will go here and just provide it. So I'm saying for this specific match, I want network tier premium, and I want a IP address. I will create one more IP address, and this IP address will send traffic to only to this like destination. So we can say like uh, my VM public IP. So I will click on reserve. So I have done that. I have reserved the IP. After that, I have to provide a rule number. So rule number one is like 1 is highest and 65,000 the lowest. So let me provide it 100, and I will click on done. And one more thing I will just enable logging, so that we can check all the logs and how it is working. So I will click on translation and errors logs, so that we can understand better how our traffic is going and which IPs it is using of out of these two. And I will click on create. So it has been created. Let's go inside that. And if we come down, we will see we have two rules. One is default, and it is means for this IP range means any IP will go to this. And the rule, we can see the rule number, it is 65,001. It is the least one, and it will be checked at the last. As you know, the firewall also the same thing is there. So same thing here. And after that we have customized rule. So if any traffic come from the for this destination, the cloud net will use this IP, and the rule number is 100, and with the network tier and all that. So let me open my logs also, add that, and let's copy this IP, and we will do a curl from my VM. So let's go here and I will do a curl. So we can see it has been giving me a web page. And let me do a one more curl for like example.com, and let's do that. And here is example.com, and if I do the ns lookup also for example.com, so that we can know the IP of this specific URL. So this is the IP for that example.com. Now if we go back to our cloud console in the logging, and we will click on jump on now, we can see we got two logs here. Both are allocation status okay. And if we click here, and let me check the connection, which is the connection it is. So if we I will can show you. So this is the connection destination IP 134, that is my this VM, and net IP it has chosen 50.90. If we go back here, and we can see this is the net IP which we have customized, created the net tools. So it is correctly choosing this. And if we go back and check our second log, this one, and click on connection, and just make it little big, so you can see also for this destination IP, which is my example.com. If you come here in the VM and see, this is the same IP, like 215.14. It has chosen the net IP 228, and 228 is for this one, if we see default one. So like this cloud net, we can create multiple rules. So if you wanted some traffic will go to from this specific net IP only to some specific destination, so you can create cloud net rules. Suppose you have a customer and they want that all the traffic must come from a specific IP, and that IP cannot be used by other destinations. Later there is some policy, I think you can understand. So for that you can customize net rules, and it works only in manual, you cannot use in automatic. So now let's click on edit, and let's see some more thing also inside it. So let me come down, and if you go to here, suppose you want to add more IP address, you can come here and create one more IP address. It can multiple IP address inside that. So let it give him my VM public IP2, then click on reserve. So now it will create two IP address. So traffic can be flow from any of these IP address. And it has created. Let's click on done, and let's add one more rule. So for this rule, let's so there is one more. I have just an ns lookup for cisco.com. So let's try add this IP also, and like this you can add one more IP, and you can add multiple IP also, like you can add one more IP if you have something like that. And after that, in this we will choose for standard one. So suppose this traffic is not that much, suppose you can like face little bit latency also. As you know, standard will go over internet, so multiple hoops are there. So if you're okay with latency, you can choose standard one, and you can create a IP address for this also. So we can select standard IP, uh, standard IP1, and we can click on reserve. And once it has been reserved, we have to give a rule number. So as I've told you, that two net rows cannot have the same number, so number must be different rule number. So if I try to give 100, so it will give me an error like it must like it must be unique within the Cloud NAT gateway. So let it change to 200, and let's click on done, and let's click on save. And if I try to cisco.com, so now the traffic will automatically will go to my this IP, where it is this one, 247.10. If you go to logs also, and so here are some new entries. This is the latest entry. If we click on this and click on connection, and we can see for 72.164, it is going with, if the destination is correct, so it is going with 247.10, as we can see. And the last thing, this is the like you can create multiple rules and must make sure the priority. And according to our PPT, we have checked multiple things, and we cannot add like in a rule. I cannot add inside this rule number 200. If I try to add a premium IP, it will not work. I can only add now standard only. I cannot mix premium and standard in a single rule. So like this, so these are the net rules I want to show you and how it works. So make sure what you're doing don't overlap. And if you like want to match ranges, basically I'm using a single IP, but you can use the ranges also, like /30 /24, according to that how you want to send the traffic to your destination. And according to that you can create multiple IPs if the traffic is very high or large level that egress is going on. So you can create that. Make sure the rule numbers don't overlap, and you cannot mix premium and standard IP, as I've told you. And this all we can do here in this video. I've shown this only, I want to show you. And if you have any questions, suggestions, just comment it down. I will provide my email ID also. You can reach out to me on the email also. Hope this video helps you. Thank you.